Hello everybody, a bit of a quicker episode this week. Well, hopefully anyway, I have less things to do in it. Hopefully meaning might get the next episode, episode 11, up to Patreon a little bit quicker for you all. Today we're gonna finally make a start now that we have the text system, kind of drawing our text boxes and everything like that. And we're able to call them. We have entities with which to kind of summon those text boxes. We're gonna make a start on the response system so that you can have, a dialogue with a character or even a signpost or whatever. You can, we'll show you something in a text box and be able to show you options that you'll be able to select one of those options and then either get more text boxes or cause something else to happen in the game. But in order to get that started, what I'm going to do in this episode is just create the system by which we draw those responses on the text box, and we're able to kind of cycle between them with our keyboard keys, and that way everything is in place for the next part, which will be a bit more complicated. Because however you want to do dialogue in your game, you're going to have to build in some sort of system that allows you to put that dialogue somewhere, right? And put the messages that you want to have appear into your game, and have it linked to responses that you can give, and have those responses linked to further actions by the game, right? So, if you imagine a flow chart of something a character says, and then you give a response, a yes or no response to that, what should happen as a result of either of those responses? Now, there's all sorts of different frameworks and ways you can go about setting this up. I'm going to go for one that's just allows us to input the data in the simplest way possible, and is one of the easiest to build. I don't know necessarily that it's the best system long term, but as far as I can imagine, I think it should scale and should be manageable for a small to medium sized project. So how we're going to do it is we're going to build on what we already have here, where we go into our variables of a particular entity and we simply write in what text we want to appear when the entity is activated. We're essentially going to make it so that you, instead of just writing in the string you want to appear, we write in one long string that contains both the message we want to show and the responses that we want to offer, and we'll use like symbols in the string to mark where those responses are. So we'll have, say, like, how are you doing today? Fine, thank you. I don't know, I've been better. As like one whole string with some markers on it to show what the responses are and what's just the message. And then we'll also have, where those markers are, like a number that is going to refer to what should happen if the player picks that response. And then we're quite simply going to have a single script, which is a huge switch statement that just contains all of the different responses that we want to have in the game. And we just select them by ID. And honestly, outside of like building your own like third-party tools to manage the flowcharts and dialogues and stuff, this is actually one of my favorite ways of handling this kind of thing. I think it's very simple, it's easy enough to manage, it's all in one place, and it already begins the work of helping with localization by tying strings to ID numbers, and automatically builds in the flexibility to do other things with your text rather than just have text and responses lead on to more text. You can have them lead on to other scripts that either give you items or cause things to happen in the game very, very easily. A lot of people don't like the idea of having like a huge switch statement. Maybe it seems kind of amateur to them, I don't know. But I legitimately think it's a pretty strong option for a small, medium-sized project. And it's certainly one of the easiest to get your heads around and understand, so it's the one I'm going to be teaching you. But a lot of that is what's going to come in the next episode. I just wanted to take a bit of time at the beginning here just to kind of get you ready for it so you know what we're aiming to build. In this episode, as I said, we're just going to focus on getting those responses actually drawn into our text boxes, and we're going to just set up some dummy responses in each text box just to kind of show that off. So I'm going to go first of all to our oText object and just add a couple of things in the create event that are fairly temporary. Responses is going to be an array of all the different responses that we might have in a text box, and that is something we will add to the text box in the future when we create it via like another script, or a sort of a modified version of the new text box script that will sort of take in responses and will like parse the string and work out where those responses are. that's the kind of big chunky thing that we're going to be doing in the next episode, because it's quite a long script and I kind of want to be able to go through it in detail. But for now, we'll just give a couple of dummy responses that will be like test response and test response 2. Okay, again, just using that kind of new way to write an array in GameMaker Studio 2, just opening the square brackets, entry number 0 and entry number 1 right there. And then the only other thing I'll need, this one isn't temporary, actually, this is just a variable we need. Response selected is going to equal 0. Which is just going to store which response we currently have like highlighted. Or maybe that should be what it's called actually. Response selected sounds like that's the same thing, I guess. Either way, so it's 0, which means it'll be pointing at your first response every time. Something to bear in mind design-wise, that whatever option you're going to have highlighted by default will be whatever the first response is. We're thinking about that. And the next thing I want to do is come into the draw GUI step. Draw GUI event. Step, similar thing. Event, I guess is the correct word. And then after we've got the text that we want to draw here, we're going to add some more stuff to it. So if responses 0 does not equal -1, because that's the that's what will be in this array if we haven't put any responses into the text box. Okay, so eventually we'll go back and we'll change this in the create event to just be -1 in the first entry, and then if we actually create responses, it'll get overwritten with new entries. All right, so assuming that there are responses to add, and text progress greater than or equal to string length message. Let's maximize this. Okay. Bad habit of mine sometimes of writing in those tiny boxes in the workspace. And we'll just make it a little bit bigger as well. So assuming our text has finished displaying essentially like our text progress is the full string, we'll then show the options that we want the player to be able to respond with. So if that's the case, we're going to cycle through our responses, and we can do that with a simple for loop. So I'm going to do for var I equals 0, I less than array underscore length 1d, responses I plus plus. So we're going to increment through our responses array. So we know there's 2 entries in it, so it'll go from I equals 0 to I equals 1, and then when I equals 2, it'll be the length of that, and we'll break out the loop. So for each response, first of all, we're going to want to add a new line. So print plus equals /n. All right, that will always get translated into meaning line break. Has a special name for that kind of thing in text. I'm going to see what it is in the manual. Escape characters, apparently is what they're called. Either way, when you write this into a string, it's going to be interpreted as meaning a new line. There's a whole bunch of these as well, like /b represents a backspace, and there's a whole bunch of other things. If you want to type like a backslash by itself, you do 2 of those, and so on. It's also what you use for inserting like tabs and Unicode characters and that kind of thing. Anyway, we want to add a new line before each response, and then if I equals response selected, we want to add essentially what I'm going to do. We want to do something to highlight that this response is the response we have currently highlighted, right? Either by drawing an arrow pointing towards it, or like changing the font color, or whatever else. Changing the font color is tricky for us because we're just drawing the whole thing here rather than drawing everything character by character or line by line. So I'm just going to take a really simple approach by adding some arrows around the text. So before we add the response itself, we're going to add an arrow. So print plus equals towards arrow and a space at the end there, so it's not right next to it. Then add the response to print, like that. And last of all, we'll put an arrow on the other side as well. So if I equals response selected print plus equals left arrow space and semicolon, and make sure that's all closed off correctly. Yep. If you don't, I'm sure you probably know by now, but if you highlight the end of brackets or curly braces, it shows you like where they close. Very handy just for making sure, like, it's very easy to write like too many brackets or not enough. Just select them there. If you write too many, like, you'll start seeing them, like, you'll get ones that like come up, you'll get this red thing here, and you'll be able to see like, oh, okay, I can see where that's gone wrong, and so on. With that done, I'm going to pop over to this step event. I'll just go straight to it from here, of our text object again. Let me zoom out just so we can see the whole thing. And at the moment you can see the only interaction we have with the text drawing process, with this our animation, and then we've got our other bit down here. The only interaction we have is pressing spacebar to skip towards the end of the message. Just above this, what I'm going to do is add a section just to cycle through responses. So I'll call it that, cycle through responses. First of all, we just need to get our keys. I'm just going to copy and paste this bit in because, you know, typing it takes a while and it's exactly the same code we've seen before for our player. Key up is going to equal either the up or down keys or W and S. And then based on that, response selected plus equals key down minus key up, just so that, you know, if you press both at the same time, they'll cancel each other out. And then we just want to make sure that if you go over the top of the responses or under the bottom, we wrap around. Normally I do have a script for wrapping around that I just called wrap, but rather than bring in yet another script or function that you have to go and get, I'll just show you how to do this manually. It's worth knowing how to do it. It's not exactly very complicated. We just need a maximum and a minimum. Var max equals array length 1D responses -1, because obviously the length of our current dummy array would be 2. There's 2 entries in it, but the maximum we want response selected to hit would be 1, because it'd be either entry 0 or entry 1, right? That maximum will be however many entries there are in the array -1. And then var minimum equals 0. Then really simply, I don't think I have to explain this, response selected greater than max, response selected equals min. And if response selected less than min, response selected equals max. Pretty self-explanatory. And then we have those debugged sort of, you know, dummy responses already in place, which will just be in place on every text message we have. So if I talk to this guy, it'll be hello there, test response 2. Apparently we messed up. We put the space. I think we put the space on the other end of the arrow, but that's easily enough fixed. And if we talk to the signpost, it shows the same thing. Look, let's just go in and fix that real quick. That was just one draw GUI. Yeah. So we put the space on the wrong side of that arrow. It should look like that instead. But that's pretty much all there is to it. Yeah. So simple episode this week, guys. I'm trying to bring, where I can, bring the duration of these videos down a little bit. Sorry if that means, you know, it's, you know, those of you who are all right with it and want to just, like, you know, you want to get more content. So I apologize for that for some of you, but I know that also, like, these episodes being really long all the time can be kind of fatiguing. So I kind of, you know, thinking about not only people who are waiting for each episode to come out, you know, bit by bit and are chomping at the bit for more and more, but also for people who are going to watch it in the future to be able to sort of break it down into more bite-sized chunks. So sorry about that. If you prefer kind of the longer formats, feel free to let me know. It is, you know, you can always use the feedback, whether you prefer the episodes being like, you know, 30 to 40 minutes, or whether you prefer me to try and sort of keep it down to around the 20-minute mark. It is really tough. It's really tough doing just coming up with the code in the first place that can even conceivably fit into kind of episodes this length is tricky. Anyway, all my talking is just making the video longer, so I'll wrap it up there. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. And that was episode 10. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to catch episode 11, these cool people, these patrons passing by right now, are watching episode 11 as we speak. If you want to be one of them, you can head over to patreon.com/SeanJS. Pop me a few dollars a month, and you can watch all these videos early. Wouldn't that be cool? Thank you in particular, and in no particular order, to the following: Alex Schenkel, Bowser the Dog, Bert E.T., Cabbage Pants, Caleb Franklin, Daka Dondigo, Do What Doobie, Figgy, Gilberto Cisneros, Giles Montgomery, Goose, Hare, Ayungjin, James L. Anderson, James Siggins, Jason, John Harwood, Kevin Sheaves, Leo, Maria Celesta Oliveira Frayling, Max M, Pixel Mush, Relentless Rex, Rennie Dam, Robert Churches, Rovan Darlan, Run, Rupinder, Scott Matthews, T. Lesson, Travis Womack, Troy Mera, Tyler Hubble, Zach Collett, Zaki, Zephyr Flame, and Zenan May. Thank you all so much, and thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.